we go. Welcome. This is the monthly OTEEA, Ohio Technology and Engineering Association webinar. And I am so pleased. My name is Bob Claymeyer, and I'm a member of the OTEA. And I am pleased to introduce our guest today. Our guest presenter is Laurie Green, aka Ms Geeky. She is in Arizona and formerly from Ohio, though. She's still a good person. And she is involved in so many elementary programs and has so many elementary resources to tell you about that I'm just going to let her go. So, Ms. Green, take it away.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure, Bob, to see you and to be associated with your organization. They do wonderful, wonderful things. So thank you for having me. Yes, I'm Laurie Green, also known as Mrs. Geeky, because it's chic to be geek. We all know that. And I've been an educator for over 30 years. I started in Cleveland Public Schools, and that's where I became interested in tech integration. Eventually got my master's at Cleveland State University in curriculum and foundations.
Go Vikings.
Curriculum. Go Vikings, that's right.
Right.
Curriculum and foundations with a focus in tech ed. And subsequently now I work for an organization, a nonprofit called Duct. And let me turn off that little sound in the background so that doesn't bother us again. Hang on here. Boom. There we go. I work for Duct PD. Duct PD is a nonprofit organization, and we have a partnership with Amazon Future Engineering Program. And I'm going to talk a little more about that towards the end of this presentation and give a quick overview of the programs they have, what I've been doing with that, and information in case you're interested in pursuing that for your district. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I happen to be on one computer. I'm usually on two, so bear with me while I go back and forth on my one computer here. And here we go. And Bob, you can edit out all these quiet moments, right?
Oh, well, no, it's just, this is totally, I mean, this is what makes this program great because they know it's live when we have all these boo-boos in here. It's great.
Welcome, Brian. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well.
Good. Glad you're here.
Brian's one of our OTA people too. Recently retired.
Awesome. Awesome. So as I mentioned, I'm Mrs. Geeky, and just a selfless plug, my Twitter is at the Mrs. Geeky. I'm almost to 1,000 followers. So if you happen to be on Twitter, I'd appreciate if you'd follow me. You don't have to, but if you'd like to. Some of you might have seen this on my Twitter who do follow me, but this really is my garage. This is Mrs. Geeky's garage. I've dreamed about this for years. The inspiration came from when I visited Tufts University many years ago, and they had a room where you could go in and build Legos, and all 4 walls were covered with organizers like these, and all the Legos were sorted by color and type, like 2x2 blues, 2x2 yellows, 2x2. And I someday thought I'd have a garage like that. And so, yes, normally when I'm in Arizona, I would be broadcasting to you live from here, but that is Mrs. Geeky's garage. And we do welcome visitors. And this is Cam and Sheila. They are from Fargo, North Dakota. They were out visiting and stopped into Mrs. Geeky's garage, and they unleashed their inner geekiness while they were there, found out how creative they were. So if you ever want to stop by, if you're in Arizona, let me know, and we will open up the garage for you, see what we can create that day.
Awesome.
Yeah. Welcome
so while they were visiting from Fargo, Fargo was deserted then.
Yes, it was a quiet time in Fargo.
Quiet time in Fargo, yeah, I get
it. Exactly. So a couple of the things that I wanted to address during our talk, and first is this school year. It's 2021-22, and I knew that when we rang in 2021 back in January, we had a lot of hope and excitement, and when it looked like schools could come back face-to-face this fall, I think even more, oh yay, we're getting back to normal. But a funny thing happened on the walks to the school is that this year is almost, and I will say it is worse than last year on so many levels. And I'm just sharing some tweets that I saw over the past couple of weeks from colleagues who are teaching out in the field. Feel I'm having so many more struggles than normal, even tougher than last year because the expectations were lower last year. We are running on empty. Can't put my finger on it. I thought this one was very powerful and I think poignant is my husband's district swapped their PD day for a mental health day, a day off. And I just think other districts should follow suit. And to her point, they are. I'm learning of other districts that I've worked with and am working with that are actually taking PD days and making them mental health days or days just to stay home, maybe do some lesson planning, but not this push for professional development and other things that we normally do on those PD days. And as I've talked to several of my friends, colleagues who are teaching, the common denominator that I hear when talking with them is they're challenged by the learning gap, the socialization. And someone said to me the other day, they said, Laurie, I've got first graders who have never been to school before. They're still learning the socialization and the structure of how everything works. Administrative pressures, inconsistent attendance. I'm hearing that, for example, bus drivers, there's a shortage. So some kids come in late and leave early or don't even come in at all. And you have kids who are getting sick and staying home and then dealing with a constituency with differing viewpoints on how things should be in the classroom. This is really very overwhelming. So my goal today is to present some resources that are either free, low cost, but something that perhaps will work with kids who might be inconsistently coming to school or things change every day at school. But hopefully this will give you some resources that will provide some reliability in your classroom or things that can ebb and flow with things that are changing right now. So the first one I want to share with you is the MakeCode. And if you're not familiar with MakeCode, I'm going to go ahead and click on this link. And by the way, everything I'm showing you in this presentation, I'm going to put a link in at the end. And I know, Bob, you'll post it as well. It'll be to a document that has a list of all the resources I've mentioned in the links.
Cool.
And so, yep, so MakeCode, what I love about it is you don't have to buy a thing. And if your students are at home or in school, they can use this. And let me just show you a quick example. And you see there's Microbit, Arcade, Minecraft, Age of Fruit, which is great for sewable electronics and so forth. But I'll use Microbit as an example. And your kids, you may not have Microbits for all the kids. No problem, because you can, and I'll just put demo here, create a new project. And I don't have a Microbit. In fact, I had to hit the road unexpectedly today, so I'm not in Ms Geeky's garage, but no problem. Because if I go to this website, if it'll come in, and this is just the internet connection I have, this is not normal for them, then I can go ahead and try a program. And I'm just going to do a quick one here. Let's see. How about if I do a happy face? Because I'm happy that I unexpectedly had to come back to the Buckeye State. So good to see all the leaves changing. Mm-hmm. Now, I press play, and this simulator here runs the program that I write here. And for sake of time, I'm showing you a very easy example. Now you're looking at this going, this is great. The kids don't need the Microbit. They can write a program and they can test it, even with like the A and B buttons, some of the other features that come with the Microbit. But what if you've never used the Microbit before? Fear not, because the other thing I love about this website is that they have these handy dandy tutorials. And what I did quickly under Microbit is I clicked on flashing heart. If I have younger students, I might want to select blocks. And even if you, the teacher, has never done this before, you can do it right along with them. Every step reveals the categories that are needed for that particular tutorial. So you saw in my example before, there were lots and lots of categories. We just need the basic category for this tutorial, and they're color coded. So anything that comes under basic is blue. If you're still not sure after reading the sentence what you should do, you can then click on this picture and it'll give you a little video. And then you proceed to the end of the project, and then you can test it out in your simulator. This pattern is the same for the Age of Fruit and the other options that you saw as well. So I just think this is great because you don't need a Microbit. Students can go at their own pace, just come down here to the tutorials, and it scaffolds and slowly introduces the different sensors, the different inputs that come with the microbit. And it also introduces concepts like variables and so forth. So that's one of my go-tos. Again, it's free, which I love. And not only is it with the microbit, but you can also do some of the other, let me see if I can go back out. Oh, let's do this. Some of the other, oh, let me exit out. Sorry about that. Some of the other products that they show, like Age of Fruit, I think they had, here we are, the arcade, Lego education, and so forth. So there's a really good resource that I like to go to.
Would all of those be good for, I've got a friend who's a second grade teacher. Would all of those different Age of Fruit and this, yeah.
And the Minecraft and so forth.
Yeah.
Microbit, I'd probably start second or third grade, probably third, just because of the reading required and some of the concepts, and same with Age of Fruit. But I will tell you that teachers know their students best. So I would have her take a look at a few of these and see what she thinks. So, but that, generally speaking, that would be my advice. Now, one other thing I meant to show you, which is really quite cool. Also, you might be starting this at older grades, say 5th, 6th, 7th. Maybe you have kids who are ready to transition over to text-based programming. You're going to get those same tutorials, but it's going to walk you through how to do it in Python and JavaScript. And that's true for almost every tutorial. There's a couple that don't have that, but for the most part, they do. So again, if you're bridging from block programming to that text-based, this is a nice resource. Other questions? Whoops, went the wrong way.
No, it's great.
And I'll have, yep, I'll have those links. Like I said, I have a page at the end. I'll drop it in the chat. You can post it. All these links will be there.
Okay.
So you know it, you love it. You've seen the BeeBot, goes forward, back, left, right, distance, direction, estimation. But your kids are going back and forth. Maybe they're home for a while because they're sick or what have you. So what's really cool is there's this free BeeBot emulator that you can use wherever you are, just like the real thing.
That's awesome.
You can all, it is cool, and it's free, which I love. And it also has different maps you can use. So if you're counting coins, program the BeeBot to go to the coins that will add up to 25 cents. Let's see, the dice mat. So maybe add numbers together and have it go to the different numbers. But again, very open-ended. You don't need anything. It's easy to use and free. So I wanted to share that. I like things that kids can also access from home if possible.
Great. Does the BeeBot play pickleball?
You know what? I should go to pickleball match with BeeBots and animate it. That, oh man, you just did my project for the weekend. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks for playing.
Can you guess what sport? What sport does Bob love to play? Pickleball.
Pickleball.
Yep. He's trying to get me converted. So just kind of on that same theme of BeeBot, kicking it up a notch. This looks like our old friend logo, which really it is. And you know, Artemis Pappert actually is part of this, which was Seymour Pappert, is Seymour Pappert's daughter. Oh, so okay. Turtle art, and again, yeah, this link will be in the document that I share at the end. But there's our friend the turtle, and we have color categories. They don't have names on them, but that's okay because you can work with the students. Okay, green is motion or move. You know, blue, pen up, pen down, how things look. And you can, much like Scratch Junior or Scratch, we can say, oh, we want the pen down. We want to go forward for 100. And then maybe turn right 90, and then so on and so forth, and build your program out. Have it draw a square and then show students how it can repeat 4 times. Again, they can access this from home, from school, something else that is free. And all I have to do now, once I've put my program together, is press the play button. And then if I want to clean my screen, there we go. great open-ended, student interest, student-driven, where they can explore. And you can see just, and again, I'm going through these very quickly, but go through these and spend more time, and you can see there is enough here to really scaffold and bring in some good math skills. Again, distance direction estimation, starting to see how coding causes a reaction. Some, in this case with the turtle, work in lots of geometry. So I have that in our bag of goods there. And duct tape network. This is another one that I think I've mentioned probably in podcasts and webinars before, but I just love this program because right now there are so many things going in different directions. Why not have something open-ended that the kids could be creative and still show some of those skills that we're looking for? And one of those is just to be able to build and invent, maybe incorporate some geometry. But Duct Tape Network walks you through everything you need to have like a mini duct tape makerspace in your classroom. I'm going to talk a little bit later about how you can actually make a mini makerspace in your classroom. This is from MIT Media Lab, so you can't go wrong. It's free. They have so many good ideas. The slideshow that they share with you, or the resources, I think was initially geared for an after-school program. This is something you could easily do in your classroom. It's flexible. Students can start working on something one day and come back and continue the next, or in like the next week, whatever. So it can ebb and flow with your classroom. Love Duct Tape Network. Rube Goldberg, I may have mentioned this in the past, but I would even challenge families to do this at home. So the Rube Goldberg Association has a challenge every year. And I believe it just started. And even if you don't want to participate, you can still get all the information for this year's Rube Goldberg challenge. And you can look at previous ones as well. You can do this in the classroom. Kids can do it at home. It really is exciting. There was a story on, not 60 Minutes, the Sunday morning show. I should have put the link in there and I didn't, but you could Google it on that Sunday morning show on CBS and watch the story, the whole story on Rube Goldberg and how that came to be and how this foundation came to be. Another one, cardboard challenge. Again, I'm just trying to get these kids back in the classroom and thinking about those creativity skills. This was based on the movie Kane, or a documentary, Kane's Arcade. They have did have a day of play already this year, but there are tons of ideas here. Cardboard. Who isn't always throwing cardboard out because, well, we're all Amazon fanatics now. We all were ordering from home. We've got tons of boxes. What better thing to do with them than to build and build with purpose? So another resource here that is included. And I'm talking my normal Irish self, talking very fast. Questions so far?
Speaking of cardboard, are you familiar with Three Ducks Design or Make Do?
I love both of those. And in fact, Mrs. Geeky has both in Mrs. Geeky's Garage, and I highly recommend them both. So what Bob is referring to are tertiary items that help connect your cardboard together. So maybe you don't want to always be using duct tape. Three Ducks Design has clips that will hold the cardboard together, and Make Do has, aren't they like little, they actually screw into the cardboard, and it has cute little plastic knife. So even I cannot hurt myself, which is saying something. So it's like the only knife my daughters will let me get near. So yep, excellent, excellent. I can add that to the list as well. As we're starting to kind of ramp things up here, I just wanted to mention Tufts University Center for Engineering Education and Outreach. I would really follow these folks, and I believe they have a newsletter. They are always coming out with great lesson ideas. Their lesson ideas are rooted in that no ceiling, no basement, wide walls. So just a great resource for lesson plans, information, and so forth. This one I really love, and I feel sometimes that people, it's just, I don't know why it's not on everybody's radar, but this UC Davis STEM Center, which I stumbled across a couple years ago. Let's go to their website. Whoop, my bad.
Getting that plug in early, huh?
Yeah. Let's see, I'm I think when I added this, I didn't make it a hyperlink like I should have. So we'll just fix that real quick. And again, I handpicked stuff that I thought, one, free, two, that could be flexible with your curriculum, three, that hopefully, kids could do either in school or, can supplement at home. So C-STEM from UC Davis has this interactive, which is what I like about it as well, this interactive RoboBlocky, and this is probably more middle school, high school, where they can program these little NXTs, if you will. And let me just find the example of it working. I believe, if I can get back to it. It used to be right there, but to get to there, and I'm sorry, this is one of those online moments where like, shoot, where did it go?
The shows were live.
I know, but they have this really, really great interactive site here where you can program these, and maybe this is it here. This gives an example. They may have moved to the link from when I've shown this before, but students can program using RoboBlocky to do these programs here and watch them unfold live, or interactive, like on a simulator.
Yeah.
Maybe this will. And I'll update my link on the sheet to make sure it goes right to where I wanted it to go. Here it is. Yay me.
Yay.
So this is yay. And so this is what I really wanted to show you, because I get very excited about this. It has, again, that same thinking with the blocky programming. Mm-hmm. So you have categories. Categories are named with what they do, and they're color coded. But you're going to see over here that they've really kicked it up a notch in terms of different features in this dialog box and the things that you can do. So I'm thinking here, this is probably 7th, 8th grade and above. But again, you have the simulator here. You don't need to purchase anything necessarily. Something you can access free from home at school. Another way to start getting, yeah.
Sorry, I just saw simple view. I wondered, would that simplify what the kids can see and maybe make it simpler? That says simple view down under the step and robot. It says simple view down there. Is that right there?
Where are you?
We see where it says grid size, small, medium, large. I just wonder what that simple view did.
Good size, small, medium.
Just to the right of grid size. It says on my screen says simple view.
Third line down.
Oh, there it is. Boy, wake up, Laurie. Good call. Good call. Yep.
So that makes it simpler for some kids that are just getting into it. Maybe they just have less choices.
I like the simple view.
Yeah, I do too.
Yep.
Yes.
I always do. Otherwise, I see too many squirrels. I'm like, oh wait, what does this do?
Yeah,
what does
exactly.
that do?
Yeah. But
what I do like about them, and I talked to one of the guys who works on this program at a conference a couple of years ago, is that they have curriculum they can share with you. They have professional development that they can come out and do. They are very research based in their program. So again, just kind of going over the highlights here. If this is something that is of interest to you, I definitely would take a closer look. Oh, that's the guy I met. And at any rate, I would follow up with them and see how you could become involved in a deeper way. But they have been around for a long time, very committed, very well funding to providing STEM and these types of resources in the schools, and towards equity with math, CS education, coding, and robotics. Yeah. Really like these guys. Great. And then last but not least, well, no, this portion, Amazon Future Engineer. So I mentioned earlier, I work for BeeBot PD, and we are a nonprofit. Our mission is to provide equitable access to all students to coding and programming. We subsequently partnered with Amazon Future Engineer program, and we do provide the professional development for K through 5, or maybe K through 8 in some cases. And how we do that is by teaching both what I'm going to say screen free, but mostly hands-on coding. Right now we're using Scratch and Scratch Junior to do that. This program that I'm involved with, we come to the schools, like I'm assigned to a school for 3 years, and we come back and do ongoing professional development. So teachers get confidence in integrating it in the curriculum in their school. We do on-site visits afterwards. We provide all kinds of support. And this is all free. It's paid for through a grant from Amazon Future Engineer. A school does have to apply for it, and I'm going to get you to a link in just a minute. But it doesn't just stop with the part that my Boot Up supports. They also have other Future Engineer programs for the different grade levels. And so I would encourage you, and they're all project-based learning, based and student interest driven. I would encourage you, if you're looking, maybe not even at K-5, but some of the higher grades, definitely take a look at their website and see if there isn't a good fit for you. Amazon has been very generous with the funding and has put a lot of thought and time into this. And I think it's a wonderful program. It's nice to see organizations giving back.
Yeah.
And this link here will tell you more. And again, it's on the sheet that we'll share with everybody, but something worth taking a look at. I really just can't say enough good things about it. And I'm really enjoying the partnerships that I have now with my schools. So in fact, I'm headed to Virginia in a couple of days to go visit one of my districts. So kind of transitioning real quick, I said earlier when I tweeted out that I would talk about makerspaces too, just kind of kickstarting them, because what I'm finding when I'm working with some of my schools in Virginia, Maryland, and even back in Arizona, is that schools were just creating makerspaces or STEM spaces, and then COVID hit, school shut down. Now we've got to start slowly kicking them back into gear. And it hasn't been easy because, as I mentioned at the beginning of this talk, that there are a lot of other things tugging at us right now and situations we didn't anticipate. So maybe just starting small right now, just giving them that opportunity in the smallest of way to have an open-ended, no ceiling, no basement way to create and build. So if you happen to be at the Dollar Tree, which when I moved to Arizona, my daughter Nick renamed it the Dollar Cactus because she said there's no trees in Arizona. So we call it the Dollar Cactus. Yes. Get a shoe organizer. They have them there for $1. Or, I don't know, maybe Bed Bath and Beyond, or might be one in your house. Get a little glue stick or a label maker, label these things and hang it in a corner, and you've got a makerspace right there. And then you're thinking, well, how do I use that makerspace? If you're reading a book, have them create something that illustrates the scene, a prototype to solve something. Somebody the other day put on Twitter that they are having a really hard time peeling back the copper tape from the sticky back. And so she was asking the adults, well, what do you guys do? And I said, well, ask the students. Maybe they could create something. A lot of times a makerspace, I feel, gets used when there's a teachable moment. Something's broken. We can't figure out how to do something. Create a prototype. Put that idea down on paper. Let's build it. Let's see if it's viable. So, and that can all start with, a shoe organizer. Who knew? Pegboard is another great way to make a mini makerspace in your classroom. You just need a little area, nice pegboard, some hooks, and away you go. Excuse me, magnetic board makerspace. I like this one. Just take those cans, those soup cans or whatever you have the kids bring them in, label, put it up there, and away you go. You've got a little mini makerspace. And again, it's not just to go there to do something after you finish your work at, or assignment at school. It's for those teachable moments. I wonder how they did that. How could we make something better? Keep in mind that when Dyson created the vacuum cleaner that turns with the ball in the front and so forth that we all love now, his first 200 prototypes were with cardboard. So the best inventions start very simply. There's a lot of value in that. And why? Oh, There we go. This is one I had at Buckeye Local Schools in Medina, Ohio. The PTA donated these or purchased these carts. You usually see these like maybe in a hospital. They have the little tilt-out shelves, kind of like the ones you see in Mrs. Geeky's Garage, but these are on a mobile cart. And I would stock the cart with items that went with the project the class was doing. And in this case, we were making a stop action film. So I put in the different Lego pieces and the minifigs that worked and so forth. And then they used their iPads to make a stop action picture. And this was actually music class because they composed a piece during a certain time period. And then they were creating a little video to go with it that was appropriate. So you could have a mobile makerspace. And that's just another example. I actually got that example from, I want to say it was the Children's Museum in Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. I wanted to share this with everybody because as kids are coming back to school, as we're starting to build our community again of learners, wouldn't it be great to build that community as an ongoing project in your classroom and incorporating some of the new things that we're learning? So I'm going to let you watch this video and I think you'll see what I mean. This was something that a class did that I think took them several months, which I thought was great because kids could contribute as they could. It was ever evolving into this final project. I just think that's a project you could work on all year long.
Yeah.
As you can, but you saw things like hydraulics.
Yeah.
You saw, all kinds of fun stuff and easy things like LED lights, but there was definitely some scaffolding and long-term planning.
That would be really neat as a, like, when you go to a museum or a science center and they have interactive displays where you can learn about things, to have the kids like create an interactive historical piece, or some kind of thing about science where they use these things to help highlight those parts of the exhibit that they want people to interact with and know more about. That'd be a really cool idea.
Yep, you could do, I love that. There are so many variations on a theme that you can do. And I think it's nice too to have something that doesn't get finished in a short amount of time.
Right.
Because there's something about patience, kids, like we all do when we were little, you want the answer right away. But when things take time and refining and trying again and incorporating, especially something real like that, Bob, kids like to or become more invested when it's important to them about their community, about a real world situation that's going on right now. So, yep, lots of variations on a theme you could do there.
Yeah, and also because, like you said, kids come and kids go, and you don't know if they're going to be in school today or tomorrow or next week. Perfect. I mean, it's an ongoing thing. So when they're there, they can work on it.
And the other thing I would really encourage if teachers decide to do this is have the students have little, I call them science journals, if you will, and practice writing down what they did that day. Because I will tell students, you could be sick tomorrow, but the work has to continue. So write down clearly what you did, what needs to happen next. So if somebody else comes in and opens that notebook, they can continue from where you left off, just in case. So it gets them used to that scientific writing as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. In fact, Grace Hopper, who, for those who don't know, was the mother of Cobalt and also came up with the term debugging, but a famous computer programmer. She was a rear admiral in the Navy, all of 5'2", like 90 pounds, she was just a spitfire. But when she was teaching programming and math classes, and I can't remember, I want to say it was Harvard, but it wasn't. It was one of those big schools back there. The kids would come in all anxious. Oh, we're going to learn from Grace Hopper. And she would, for their first assignment, assign them an English paper. And they'd be like, that's not what we're here to learn. And she said, if you can't write and tell me what to do, you have no business learning how to program, because that's what coding and programming is learning how to tell something what to do. So that was always the first assignment she gave.
Cool.
More language arts than you think. All right. And last but not least, oh, little fast with the mouse there. Let me move that over. So if you do nothing else from this webinar, I want you to go to dailystem.com or follow Chris Woods at dailystem. Every day he tweets out the simplest things that you can do in your classroom or things to observe and look at. He puts out this daily STEM newsletter, and I'm not sure how often it comes out. I want to say it's once a week. That just, I don't know, just stuff around you. You've heard me say before, Bob, and for those of you who don't know me, I always say find the STEM in your curriculum, not the curriculum for STEM.
Right.
And Chris lives and breathes that every day, because STEM is around us 360, and he helps you to see that. So I just think he's fabulous. I would highly encourage you, if you do one thing from this webinar, go to his website, sign up for his newsletter, follow him on Twitter. He's always tweeting out really cool stuff, and you will find great, simple, but accessible things to do with your kids on short notice. And that's all she wrote for this one. Just closing, because I always close with this slide, because Seymour Papert was my hero. And I believe this is true then, and it's true now, that the role of the teacher is to create the conditions for invention rather than provide ready-made knowledge.
Yep.
Yep.
And please follow me at the Mrs. Geeky. I want to hit 1,000 this week.
Yeah. Hey, listen, guys, if you're watching this video and you need some professional development, or you need somebody to help you get started, or you need more ideas about what to do in elementary STEM, this is the guru. This is the lady you want to come to. She has more ideas than Carter's Got Pills. She's just amazing, and she's so helpful. She's worth her weight in gold. So if you need anything, contact her. And if she can't do it for you, she'll tell you where you can go and find stuff that'll help you do what you want. She's amazing.
Absolutely. And thank you, Bob, very much. I really do enjoy what I do. I think that's why I created that garage.
Really?
Somebody said that's a fake picture. I'm like, no, that's really my garage. Let me give you that link that I mentioned. I want to drop it in the chat, and I'll make sure that I email it to you as well. And this is just a doc anybody can access. Copy that. Let's go put it back on the, I get spoiled with 2 monitors. I just have one today. There we go. And we'll drop that in the chat, and then we'll post that too on your website, and I can post that on my website as well.
Awesome. Well, again, Laurie, thank you so much for your valuable time. It's always worth more than anything else. It's just great. I just love talking to you and hearing about your new adventures in STEM. Every time I turn around, you're doing something different. So it's really great. What a resource to have for America. Now she's in Arizona, and she goes nationwide. I imagine you travel the world somewhat too. So it's just great.
Yep.
It's great having you as a person. I can say, here is where you go to get what you need. This is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brian, any questions or?
Some of those programs that you were showing early on, the BeeBot and the other programming ones, are there ways for the students to share that with the teacher that, hey, I did this? Or does the teacher have to get on Zoom to see that they did it? Or is it just, yeah, I did it, and you trust them?
That's a really good question. So for the MakeCode, which I believe was the first one we spoke about, students can save their file and then either send their file to their teacher, and they can open it in the MakeCode. And I'm thinking they just introduced a classroom version, but I have to say I don't know how it works. because I haven't set one up. So I don't want to say go set up a classroom yet until I've tried it out. But they can certainly save the file code and then open it up, you know, send it to their teacher. With I haven't tried that with the turtle art, and I will follow up with you. A lot of those usually will allow you to save locally, and then you just have to open it up. But you know, yeah, don't hold me to that on the turtle art. And with the simulator, I would imagine they'd have to either take a video of it or somehow document. Yes, and you make a very good point. Now with Scratch, you know, students can, if I didn't show Scratch, but if you do something with Scratch with your students, they can save the file, or they can put it into a Scratch studio. There's a number of ways they can share it with their teacher. So that has a few more avenues for sharing to show that they did it. Yep.
Cool.
That's it.
That's
It was
it.
great.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
awesome. Thanks so much, Laurie.
Anytime.
Okay.
And yeah, great.
All right, and for those of you watching, be sure and check. You'll have, you know, it's an OTEA website. There's other resources that we have on there, other events coming up. And if you have things that you'd like to share, if you're really active in STEM and you have some information like this, you'd like to do a webinar with us. Elementary is 1 month, and then the next month is the 7 through 12 kids. So if you have something that you'd like to do to present, please let us know. You can contact me at bobclaymire@gmail.com, and I'd love to hear from you. So thanks again, everybody.
All right. Have a good night.
Night.
Thanks.